Hello, I'm your module leader for Business Research Methods, Dr. Xiangping Du. In the last presentation, and I hope it makes you think about the purpose of your research and the way how you formulated your main research question using the accurate reporting verb, because there are different purposes of research and determines different ways that you're going to conduct your research. So which relates to this topic we're talking about, which is research philosophy. So research philosophy is about what guides a researcher on how to develop the knowledge or how to conduct the research. And as we mentioned, this presentation is going to be related to the first two layers of Saunders' research onion. So research philosophy and approach to theory development. So what is research philosophy? Research philosophy is a system of beliefs and assumptions about the development of knowledge. So the philosophy relates to the beliefs assumptions about how knowledge is developed, which could have guided you the way how you design your research. So this requires a very strong reflexivity skills of you in the whole process of research. So you have to be thinking about or becoming aware of your own beliefs and assumptions, and exploring understanding of your own research philosophy, so to actively shape the relationship between you and your philosophical position and how you undertake the research. So because unless you are self-aware of your own beliefs assumptions, you may not know what exactly you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So there are four main philosophical underpinnings of a research, which is known as ontology, the study of being, what is reality; epistemology, the study of knowledge and what is researcher's relationship to the research; and methodology, how to acquire knowledge; and methods, the specific skills or procedures that used to conduct the research. These four philosophical underpinnings and the four concepts can be a bit challenging to understand because they are very abstract. So, but I particularly like two images that would be able to clearly explain the connections and relationship between these four concepts. So the first one is using the metaphor as a tree. So methods is what you say the leaves, the specific tools, techniques you are going to use to collect the data. And a methodology is the study of it. So how should you and what the concepts guide you to use these methods. And then next is the epistemology, is how you should investigate the world. Yeah. So before you go out to think about a specific tools and techniques, so you should know how would you investigate the world as a whole. Yeah. And then the way how you investigate the world is guided by the root, which is ontology. So how you view the world. So which is kind of, from top to the bottom. So ontology forms the basis. So what is reality? What is the world? What is your view of the world? Yeah. If the world has one reality or more realities, is it static or it is fluid? And then so how would you investigate the world with reference to the concept epistemology, the study of knowledge. Yes, how your knowledge is formed. Yeah, is it from facts or is from the social interaction? And then guided you to the systematic ways of conducting research with the methodology. And then is the specific methods you're using to collect or to conduct the research. So another nice concept I particularly like is using iceberg. So the methods are the specific tools that you can say that people use to conduct the research, and obviously methodology is the study of methods, the assumptions, the discussions, the theoretical underpinning has been undertaken before you decide on a specific method. And obviously epistemology is the study of the knowledge and guide you, as we said, so whether you investigate or evaluate or explore or explain, so the particular kind of knowledge you want to investigate. But the kind of knowledge you want to investigate is, again, the epistemology is guided by the ontology. Yeah, your view of the world. What is reality? What is truth? So it's kind of nicely tied them together and explained the four concepts relationships. So just briefly going through all the four concepts one by one. Methods and the specific tools, techniques that used to conduct a research that can be seen and can be used. And then this can include the data collection methods or data analysis methods. So we will discuss later in the next couple of weeks where we will discussing data collection methods, where the tools or the techniques you know of could be questionnaires, surveys, interviews, focus group experiments, or the data analysis method, that we how you analyze the data, statistical analysis, meta-analysis, thematic analysis, or content analysis. Moving from method, now comes to methodology. One method added with a logy, that means the study of something, yeah? So methodology is the study of methods, so which refers to the set of discussions, debates, decisions, choices that you have been through and before you decide on a specific methods. So which is also refers to the systematic way that a researcher take into consideration before they conduct the research or discover the knowledge. So obviously it relates to what kind of research question your research has and the skill sets you would have, or the resources and time you have for the research and for the process of collecting the particular knowledge. And the methodology for research can be referred in two processes. One is deductive process, another is inductive process. So deductive process is where it normally starts with the knowledge of interest in or understanding of a theory that is generated from the existing literature. And then where based on the existing literature or concepts or patterns or theories generated from the literature, and you come up with a hypothesis, and where the hypothesis will be tested by your own research. So it's important to note in the deductive process, not only data can be measured is used, yeah? So any subjective or intangible evidence is brought out. So by contrary, the inductive approach begins with your data collection. So you may not have to read anything, but you just observed some social phenomenon, and then you probably go out to speak to people to understand why that happened and how that happened. So you start collecting the data. That's where you start from. And then from your data or your communication, interaction, or data collection with the people, and then you generate different themes or theories or patterns or concepts. And then you may be able to generalize and then form particular relationships, or come up with this particular theory and develop this knowledge. So it's important to note that try to avoid jumping into conclusions and then too quickly, not by speaking to one people, for example, and then you form a conclusion. You may have to speak to enough number of people to make sure the generalization of your investigation of your research is valid. Ontology is the study of being. It's about what is reality. It is the root, isn't it? It is your original belief, fundamental belief. What is reality? Do you think there is one truth or more than one truth? So there are two kind of ontology. One is called objectivism, which is also known as realism. The other one is called subjectivism, which is referred also as relativism. So for objectivism or realism, so the researcher believes there's a or an or one objective reality out there. There's one truth exists, and which is true, exploring to the truth. And the reality exists independent of the researcher, of the conscientiousness. It is context free. No matter the situation changes or changes in different organizations or different group of people, That's the truth. Okay, so probably people should behave in this way no matter which organization they are. So it is very objective and static and measurable view, and then it can be scientifically measured. So normally, objectivist believes into generalization. So one truth applies in all different contexts. Yeah. So objectivist research is about discovering the objective truth, and then the researcher's own feelings or values is not relevant to it. While subjectivism or relativism is quite the opposite. It considers realities made from perceptions or consequences actions of social actors in a particular social phenomenon or in a particular social context. So there's not only one truth, and they are not actually looking for truth, and they are looking for meanings. So they may say, oh, people in this kind of organization or in that particular context behaves in that way, but they may not necessarily behave in the same way in different social contexts or in different organizations. Okay, so reality is really shaped by different contexts, and they are subjective, they are dynamic, they are contextualized. Our perceptions or truth evolves and changes, and they may conflict at times, but that is still regarded as true, but just within that particular context. So subjectivist research is where to understand the different realities by interpreting people's actions, social interactions, motives, intentions in particular contexts. And they look into the meaning out of that in a particular social phenomenon. And also the researcher's own feelings, values are reflected upon and interpreted as part of the research mostly, because the researcher has a lot more engagement or involvement within it. But between objectivism or subjectivism, there's a third view, which means in between. So reality is constantly negotiated, debated, and interpreted. It could be one, it could be more. There could be a truth, but there could be more truth. So they need to be negotiated, debated, and interpreted at different contexts or different situations. Moving on is the concept of epistemology, is the study of knowledge. How can I know the reality? What is the relationship between the researcher and the knowledge? And how do I get to the knowledge? So there are two main concepts related to epistemology. So first is positivism, and second is interpretivism. Positivism is very similar to the subjectivism or realism ontology. So they seek to collect observable and measurable facts or explain the causal relationships between variables in a very objective way. So positivism epistemology is concerned with law-like generalizations or numbers, or can be measured by numbers. Again, as we said, it could be, they believe into the people at this age range behaves in that way, or people of X, from X cultural social background, reacts to organizational changes in this way. So they think it's a law-like generalization. Yeah, the social world exists externally and viewed objectively. So it's nothing to do with, what this person is or how that person is. It's a very objective view. So the research is very independent, and the researcher should stay back and be objective. So not because, I'm very close to you or I know you and that I see you different from others, from your social cultural background, for example, or from your age range. So it is where, the people, the researcher, try to find the truth or the knowledge, where the knowledge can be measured. While on the other hand, interpretivism is also known as constructivism. So where the meaning, the way people have, how people behave is constructed within a particular social phenomenon. So which is also known as phenomenology. So interpretivism epistemology is very much in line with the objectivism and relativism ontology. So they explores into the way how people behave or socialize in a particular context, and the meaning attached to it as well. Why people behave that differently, or why this particular group of people behaves differently, than others from the same age range or from the same social cultural background. So this is concerned with the context and focus on the meaning, and also aims to understand what is happening and why that happens within a particular context. Why he behaves differently than others, for example. And it involves a lot of interactive and transactional and subjective kind of a co-creation of the meaning, where the researcher has very much involved into it and with the interaction with social environment. So interpretivism believes into the construction of the knowledge. So knowledge of the reality is constructed and is interpreted, so within a particular social context. So as you can see, the positivism and interpretivism are very two extremes, similar as the subjectivism ontology and objectivism ontology. And it's interesting also, there might be something between as the ontology. So similarly, in epistemology, that could be something between the positivism and interpretivism, which is known as pragmatism. So where they believe knowledge should be examined using the best tool. It's not necessarily, the objective facts or the social constructed meaning, and researchers should not use one way to measure or to explore, but they could use the best approaches that's suitable for the research or the different stages of research. So which is very pragmatic. So which is known as pragmatism. So in Saunders' book, he refers to another five main concepts. But in this presentation, we just mainly introduce positivism, interpretivism, and pragmatism. There's a summary of the ontology and epistemology in relation to the objectivism, subjectivism, or its core textbook, which you can refer to. And also in this textbook, it refers to axiology, which we haven't talked a lot in this presentation. So please feel free to look into the differences, and these are the philosophical assumptions, which can be a bit challenging to understand, but this forms the fundamental theoretical underpinning of the methods that you are going to adopt later on for your research. You may also find, besides the four concepts, the ontology, epistemology, and methodology, and maybe methods, some researchers also use the concept research paradigm. So what research paradigm is? Research paradigms refers to a way of thinking about the world or set of beliefs or worldview that guides a research, and are the basic belief systems based on ontological, epistemological, and methodological assumptions. So as you can say, so research paradigm could include both ontology, epistemology, and methodology. So in one of the explanation, the researcher refer research paradigm as a combination of ontology and epistemology. So how researchers perceive what reality is, and how or what is knowledge, and how knowledge is obtained. And in another view, so there's another video, refers paradigm in relation to ontology, epistemology, and methodology on all three of them. It's worth looking into these two video clips and to understand it better, how these concepts are explained and how their connection is related in relation to paradigm.